A lower class limit is the smallest value in a class, and the upper class limit is the largest value of the class. Three classes are shown here in this diagram. The first class is the 0 to 3 class. The lower limit of this class is 0, and the upper limit is 3. This would be the first class. The second class is the 4 to 7 class, where the lower limit is 4 and the upper limit is 7. As you can see, the boundaries between the classes are supposed to be halfway between the upper class and lower class limits. And we have a third class, 8 to 11. So the lower class limit is 8 and the upper class limit is 11. We can always find the class width by finding the difference between one lower class limit and the next lower class limit. So as an example here, if we were to take the lower class limit of the second class and subtract the lower class limit of the first class, we'll get the class width. So we should do 4 minus 0 to get 4. Sometimes people mistakenly believe that the class width is the difference between a lower class limit and an upper class limit in the same class. So 3 minus 0 actually wouldn't be enough. This is because our boundaries are halfway between the lower and upper class limits. So the actual width of our bars here is going to be 4. That's what we're trying to find. Now, if we have a frequency distribution, the way that we can find that class width very easily is by taking a lower class limit and then subtracting the previous lower class limit. So here it would be 4 minus 0, and that is again 4. So it's just a different way to find it. Notice that we could also take this 8 here and subtract 4, and we could also find the class width from that as well. The modal class is the class containing the most data. What would be the modal class for the frequency distribution below? Well, we can see here that the 0 to 3, which is the first class, has a frequency of 11. And that actually is the most. The second class only has a frequency of 3, and the third class has a frequency of 1. So the 11 is the largest frequency. So we just want to state our modal class using the lower to upper class limits. Now let's find a class midpoint. A midpoint of a class is found by averaging the lower and upper class limits. In the picture shown here, the way we can find a midpoint is just by finding the middle between the 0 and the 3 here. And this will be the first class midpoint. So it looks like it's going to be 1.5 actually. But let's find that using the formula here. Take the lower class limit of 0, add the upper class limit of 3, average them by dividing by 2, and you get that midpoint of 1.5. You can go ahead for yourself and find the other midpoints, and then I'll give my answers. All right, so the other calculations would be 4 plus 7 over 2. which makes 5.5. And then we need 8 plus 11 over 2, making 9.5. On our graph, we'll find those midpoints right here and here.